I hope that this video didn't scare you off from wanting to start. But if you know anything about my channel, you know that I like to keep it real on here. Hey, welcome back to my channel. We are in part 2 of the series, Get Out of Your Own Way and Start the Stationery Business. If you didn't catch the last video, make sure you check it out. I'll have it linked up in the cards for you. We're going to be continuing this series on today, really diving even deeper into some of the aspects that you need to consider and look into when you're ready to start your business. So part 1 of this was very much mindset focused, because I think no matter whatever it is that you want to achieve in your life, whether it is starting a business or whether it is running a marathon, whatever the case, mindset is a big part of it. And so in order for you to achieve anything, you have to be willing to overcome those thoughts, those excuses, those doubts, the setbacks, and the different things that are inevitable to come with anything new that we get ready to, put our hands in. It's important to do that. And so if you didn't check out part 1, make sure you do, and then circle back, because today we're going to be talking about some of the more logistical things, again, before the products. And I know that it can be kind of frustrating, because it's going to be like, okay, I just want to get to the products. Like, where do I get this manufactured? What printer do I use? What paper do I need? And all of these different things. We are going to be really diving a lot more into that in February. So make sure you stay tuned. But I really want you to start not only a business, but I want you to build a brand. And when you are building a brand and really taking this seriously and trying to bet on yourself, you really have to do some of these beginning steps, really all of these beginning steps, in order to truly show up for your business in the way that will set you up for success. And so in today's video, we are going to be talking about some of the details that come to running a stationery business. Sometimes they are always not the funnest. They are typically put off a lot of times, or there's just a lot of confusion around them. And so we're going to touch on some of the different ones. I have 3 categories for you today. We're going to be touching on finances and legal, so that'll be one section. We're going to be touching on marketing and launching, and then finally we are going to wrap it up with time, and we're going to get into this, exactly what I mean about time. So a lot of the times when someone comes to me and they're saying they want to start a stationery business, one of the first things that comes up is, okay, so how do I get started? Should I do an LLC? That's always a really big question that is asked. And this is my biggest tip that I will give you. For your state, everyone has a Secretary of State website. Head over to that website, just in a simple Google search, you can find it. And then from there, you want to search on the Secretary of State website, what is the process of setting up a business entity within that state? So of course you have different things like sole proprietor, LLC, S Corp, corporation, and I think there's even a couple more. So partnership, I know that's another one. You want to check out all of the different options and how you can apply for those in your state. Typically there's articles of organization, which is a form that you fill out that makes it official that you want to open up this business within the state and register it under the selected entity that you choose. I've always done this with an LLC in the past in different states that I've lived in. And so the biggest tip is to look that up on that site. Within that, you will also find just all of the steps that it takes to do that. Some states will also have you get a business license. There will be fees sometimes associated around the LLC, the licenses. Some of them have a license to actually run a business from home. So you really want to look into all of the stipulations for your state and try your best not to do anything like LegalZoom or anything like that, just because a lot of times it's way more expensive to work with those companies versus just doing it on your own. Just with a little time and a little reading, you can typically find out. Now, if you are still feeling a little bit stuck, definitely see if your state does have a small business organization or your city, because that was something that I did in the beginning. I was living in Charlotte, the Charlotte area, and I ended up hooking up with that small business organization. They had a meeting that I actually went to, and there was someone where you could come ask questions, and they basically walked you through the process of starting a business. At the time, I actually was going for starting my photography business. I wasn't even thinking about stationery when I went to this meeting, but it kind of applied for everything, and they just kind of gave you a really in-depth look at what it was going to require to set up a business. And the person had a wealth of knowledge. They were able to help in so many ways so that I felt felt comfortable when I was ready to finally make that choice. So I think it's important to educate yourself, really put yourself out there, get into those rooms if you can, if they have those opportunities for you. Make a call with someone if you're not understanding what you are reading so that you can get it. Because sometimes some of the technical language that they use on those sites, you could just be sitting there and be like, what are you talking about? So definitely take a moment to get in contact and speak to a real person so that you can understand exactly what your steps are. As far as costs go, it varies depending on the state. When I lived in Charlotte, it was a totally different price from when I lived in New Mexico. It's a totally different price to where I'm living here in South Carolina. So every state has their own set of steps as well as their own prices. So you definitely want to check into that. And if that's something that you are wanting to do, you want to save up for it. Another thing I wanted to touch on in this area as well, because that is definitely a finance category. Once you get established with your state, then you can go ahead and get your tax ID number. Another name for it is your EIN number. This is essentially like the social security number for your business. This is important in order to do a lot of different things, opening up a business bank account, sometimes even signing up for certain things. You will be required to put in an EIN number for tax purposes as well. So that is something, it's free through the IRS, but you do have to have something established first and registered before you can get that. So both of those things are pretty important. And then from there, really the third thing I would say to look into is a business bank account of some sort. Now, if for some reason you are kind of holding off on the LLC, S Corp process or whatever it is, and you choose to do sole proprietor, you still want to have a separate account. This is something that I am really always constantly trying to work on for myself personally, but you want to keep your business expenses and your personal expenses separate. And the easiest way you can set that up for yourself is to, at the very least, have a separate bank account for your business. So even if it's not a business account per se, even just having a bank account that is just for your income and expenses for your business, it'll save you and whoever your tax professional is at tax time a lot of headaches, so that you're able to understand, where your money is coming from, how much money you spent on different things, and it just makes it a lot easier so that it's not getting mixed up with things. So take my advice, definitely do that for yourself. And then just as a last kind of sub tip, I would say is to already start thinking about how you want to track your expenses and your income. A great resource to look into is something that I purchased very early on in my business. It's from a brand called PaperSpark, and she creates these really cool spreadsheets. They're perfect for stationary businesses, y'all, because she breaks it down, even down to the specific e-commerce platform that you're on. So she has a spreadsheet for Shopify and for Etsy and different things like that. And so you get on there and you can put in your expenses, and you can set this up to where you go in and you plug them in weekly or monthly or just based off of how often you're getting sales. And that will allow for you to have all of this set up. So this is what you can literally hand to the person that does your taxes at the end of the year. So it's a really, really great process. I will be sure to link it down below. I'm actually an affiliate with her now, which is always just so cool, like full circle to come back to. But I absolutely love that as well. I'm also going to link my information down for the accountant that I've worked with for my business, Brittany. She is absolutely amazing. She is very well versed in working with all different types of small businesses, and it has been a pleasure just knowing her and working with her. She's helped me a ton when it has come to just really understanding and navigating all the things, especially in tax time, because I don't know nothing about that. It's just not my expertise. And so I do encourage you to, when you can, work with a professional in some way or outsource in some way. So instead of trying to, come up with your own thing, if you are not really the best with this specific subject matter, purchase the template, or work with someone that can help you. So then that way, that at the very least, your finances and your taxes and everything are in order. I did also put legal here as well, because I wanted to just touch on another really big thing that people ask about, which is like copywriting and trademarking and different things like that. I do think it's important for you to protect your stuff. It wasn't until many years into my business when I finally did the trademark process, because it is quite expensive. I did work with a lawyer because I had no idea exactly where to get started. I think now that I'm a little bit more knowledgeable about the process, if I need to register or if I need to get trademarked in other classes, I feel like I could probably do it on my own. But that first time around, I worked with a lawyer that helped me to get my businesses trademarked. And I think that it could be beneficial to you as well. Again, if you're not feeling super comfortable because you don't want to pay this money and then something's not done right. So definitely check that out. I will have the information for how to get a trademark and copyright below. But the biggest thing I would say for the trademark, because it is expensive and because it is a long game process, like, I mean, I'm talking over a year of waiting for it to be registered, you do want to make sure that this business is something you truly desire to do in the long term. You don't want to be registering something, at least this is my opinion. I think everyone, again, has their different ways of how they go about things. You can register it from day one if you would like, and for the trademark. But let's say you change the name of the business, or let's say it doesn't end up working out and you don't want to do it anymore, and now you've paid this money and you have this trademark, and it's like, so with expenses like that, I think for me, I like to just sit on things sometimes and just decide for sure, okay, is this really for me? It even took me a year to finally do the LLC after I had ran my business and really saw what it was all about, to see if I even enjoyed it. And then I went ahead and got my LLC. So everyone is going to do this process differently, but it's important to just still be knowledgeable about it, know what your options are so that when the time does come, you are ready. And then same with copyright. If you have like specific images and graphics and things that you have originally created, I 100% think you should copyright it. I think that is a very smart thing to do. I've done that with my Bun Girl image before. And you can also copyright lots of other things like courses and your planners and journals. And again, it will all come down to your preferences. You can register them as literary works. And this is a way for you to just protect the things that you've created. So copyright.gov, I'll make sure that's down in the description as well. But all in all, it's just important to just set yourself up for success in kind of like the more, boring but required areas of business. So that should be on the to-do list of things that you invest your time in when you are researching. So now let's get into point number 2. If you are new here, this is probably going to be the first time you are hearing this from me, but if you've been around for a while, you're going to be like, girl, okay, we get it. But if you are planning to launch a business of any kind, but your stationery business this year, we need to get out of our heads that launching means you post something and say, okay, the product is available. It is so much more than that. Launching is not you posting saying something available. Launching is not you posting saying this is for sale. Like, that is not what a launch is. That is just simply a post, you sharing what is happening. A launch is you taking some time to strategically sit down and figure out how you want to roll out what it is that you are getting ready to bring to your audience of whatever it may be. That could be a new planner. It could be a collection of items that you have. It could be a subscription box. There's so many different things, right? So when you think of a launch, I want you to just in your mind already think of 5 different ways, whatever product that you are planning on creating, think of 5 different ways that you can show people how amazing the product is. I want you to think of 5 different ways that they can use the product. And then I want you to think of 5 different ways that this could really help the person. So this is just a little bit of an introduction to how a launch can be. As far as the time frame of what that can look like, it could be a couple of weeks to a couple of months, just depending on what's going on. I will say though, the longer that you're able to do it, I do feel like it's the better. It's not like an indefinite thing of like, okay, I'll just never launch, but I really would give myself a couple of months, like 1 to 3 months, to really build my audience. I talked about this in the first video of this series, how important it is to get your trust built with your audience. And this is something that is so important when you want to build a business organically. If you are not planning on trying to build a brand in that way and you want to just do ads, then this is not going to be the part for you, because ads, that's a totally different thing. That will come up, as people search different things. There's like a whole different process with ads. But if you are trying to grow organically in the beginning, it's definitely a lot more affordable. If you are trying to do it in that way, then this is really where these tips and things will come in. So I have a playlist that I will link below all about launching that will really help you to get out of your head with launching, because I think that we just sometimes think that just posting a few times is enough, and it is not. You are probably going to get tired of talking about your product in certain aspects. You might be passionate about it, you're excited about it, but you will probably feel like, man, I feel like I've talked about this enough. People are probably sick of hearing about it. But with the way algorithms work and the way that just life is, there's always going to be someone new to introduce your product to, and you can always find new and interesting ways to share about it. And so if I'm talking about my planners, for example, well, hello, I couldn't help but notice that you are watching this video. And if you're watching this video, then it definitely means that you are serious about wanting to start a stationery business this year. I wanted to just let you know I have a ton of resources and tools and ways that you can continue to elevate this goal of yours and really make it happen. It is one thing to just sit down, possibly take some notes, watch a video, but it is another to take action. So make sure that you check the description box down below to find out all of the different ways you can work with me, and make sure you're on my email list because more exciting things are going to be coming very soon as well. But one way is definitely going to be the membership. If you are looking for a community of like-minded women that are not only doing stationery businesses, but really just business in general, becoming entrepreneurs in the midst of all of the things that life has going on, if you're looking for that support in addition to trainings and calls to hold you accountable, check out the Inspire Blueprint membership. If you are looking for some self-paced ways for you to just hit the ground running and get started with a specific topic right away, whether it be launching or email building or specifically making a handmade planner, definitely check out my course suite. And then another way for you to work with me, if you are looking for a little bit more one-on-one, a little bit more getting to know on a deeper level, then definitely check out my creative chats, because it is a wonderful way for you to get your questions answered, pick my brain about all of the things that have been on your heart and in your mind that you are ready to really make happen. Because sometimes we just might need that extra little step or that yes or that thing to point us in the right direction, and those calls will truly give you that. So I'm gonna let you get back to the video, but I just wanted to let you know that there are some extra things you can do if you are really ready to make this business happen. All right, so let's get back to the video. Not only am I giving information about all of the features and the things that you can get in my planner, I'm giving you all of the specs, like how many pages, it's hardcover, it's got protective corners on it, it's got a coil and all these things, and I tell you like what's inside. Yes, there's that too, but then you also have the presentation, so I can show you how I'm putting together the packaging and how I'm setting up my packaging area behind the scenes. I'm also giving you an insight to what I was thinking about when I created some of the pages, who it's for, how you can use it, what types of bags it can fit in, what types of pouches it fits in. I have products I created that go with it, so that even creates more content. There are so many things I could talk about with this planner alone. I can talk about specifically topics around goals, setting, starting a business, getting out of your own way, staying encouraged, quarterly planning, monthly, weekly, daily planning. Like, it is endless how many things I could talk about, but all of these things are what I included in my launch strategy before my planners launched. And so this is really where you have to get creative and look at your product and think, okay, what can I do? So if you are making stickers, yes, it is stickers, right? It's like, okay, well, what all can I really say about them? Dig deeper than just the product. Really think about the audience. What is the pain point of your audience? What are they struggling with? What are they looking for? What is the need that you are trying to fill with your stickers? There's always something deeper. I feel like with Happy Mail and like the planner community, one of the things I feel we all can say with these businesses is that we do want to brighten someone's day, right? We want to make them happy. We want them to feel like something was created just for them with love. And so that is something you can tap into. You can talk about, ways to improve your happiness, ways to find joy, incorporating more time for the things you love in your life. Like, these are all topics that even though you have a sticker business, you can really touch on these topics in creative and different ways. And then that's reflected through your newsletter, your podcast, your full length video, your short form videos, and all of those different aspects, your posts, going live. These topics and things can be broken down in a way, bringing people behind the scenes. All of this stuff is what can be incorporated into a launch. And so as the time goes on, you start to uncover more of what the product is all about. So the way I like to do mine, I always really start with kind of like a first piece is really more so behind the scenes, teasing, that kind of thing, really educating people about my business, my story, who I am, why I'm passionate about what I do. Kind of more in the middle of the launch, it really starts to get more into the subject matter of them, you know, like how this product can help them, specifically touching on some of the pain points in that subject matter. And then as it starts to get towards the tail end, that's really where I'm like sharing all of the specific details about this is what comes with it. This is how many pages it has. This is how much it is. This is the launch week deals that are going to be going on. This is the free product you get with your purchase and all of that stuff. So it's a momentum build. So kind of, you know, picture like you are on this roller coaster and you're kind of just slowly inching up. And when you finally get to the top, that's launch day. So there's a whole lot happening before you get to the top. A whole lot happening. And then when you finally hit post, you know, and it's available for people to purchase or pre-order or whatever you choose to do, that is when it kind of goes in this downward thing, you know, until it goes up again, because it's like a constant, you know, because then it's like, okay, now I got to fulfill the order. So then it starts going up again. But that is important to remember. And so when it comes to your marketing for your business and how you want to do it, there are so many amazing businesses out there that do this so well. And so I encourage you to just look at a few of your favorite brands, whether big or small, that really you love to shop with. You're excited for the drops that they have and different things, and look at how they get you excited. Like, look at how they tease you. Look at the different information and the little things that they do leading up to the launch. Is it just simply like, okay, it's available? Or are there a couple of things that they do leading up to? It might just be a few weeks, you know, but really just take heed to some of that stuff and see how you are able to use that as inspiration for your own launches. This same thing applies to you launching the business as a whole, you know, so like as you are working on the branding and the colors and the logo, you can bring people along in all of these aspects. And so I have specific programs and things, and we've talked about this in my membership as well. I've worked with clients on launching. It can feel intimidating at times because it's like, okay, I have no idea what to say, but I promise you, if you take a moment to just sit down and really think this through, you will figure it out, because you will start to see just how important it is to connect with your audience so much deeper than just, can you buy my stuff, right? Like, there's so much more. And I think for me, I've always been a lot more like heart first and value first, and then like the selling just kind of naturally comes and it happens. And so when you kind of approach it in that way, it makes it so much more enjoyable. It doesn't feel like sleazy, salesy, because it's like you are doing what you're passionate about. You are truly helping people. You are providing them with value. I have a lot of information as well on like building email lists. That's another thing that's a great marketing way of getting people, or getting like a text list set up. Just ways to connect with people even outside of social media. So I could talk about this specific point all day long, but I'm going to just wrap it up at that. Definitely check out the playlist about all of the marketing and launching for tips, but it is very important. And sometimes, again, we just want to get to the product, but it's like you need to be prepared for when you have this product. We want people to actually want to buy it. So it's important to have these plans in place. And then last but certainly not least, I wanted to just touch on time, and more specifically, how you're able to be consistent for your business on a regular basis. I think when we look at our schedules and the ways that we show up in all of the areas of our life, whether you work full time, if you are a parent, if you are in a relationship, if you have a lot of things going on with your family, whatever it is, like we all have different things going on. And so it is important to understand that this business that you are getting ready to take on, it is a sacrifice. It is another thing that is now on your calendar. It's another to-do. It is another priority. So when you are starting to think about the things you want to roll out for your business, I talked about this in the last video of just picking one thing. The big reason for this is because when you are first getting started, you don't want to get overwhelmed with all of the logistics of 15,000 things for your business. Starting with one thing, keeping it very simple, will help you to give yourself a chance to figure out that thing first before you start layering on more and making it super overwhelming. I could not imagine like all of the different moving parts I have with my business now. If I would have tried to do all of this on day one, I don't think I would have made it to here, because that's just, it's so much on top of, at the time I was working full time as well. I was trying to just navigate life. And then on top of this, I'm adding like this whole list of things that I want to do. So just a couple of tips to help you with your time and consistency and all of that. Really look at your schedule. Look at where you have gaps, whether that is time, maybe where you feel like there's no time, but there really is. Maybe if you are guilty of mindlessly scrolling, or you find yourself just completely doing things like, binging a whole bunch of shows, or just things that are not productive. How can you replace those habits that you're doing with things for your business? How are you able to start incorporating more time for you to sit down and design and research and work on your business and work in your business? So could kind of explain the difference between the two. When you are working in your business, a lot of times that is all of the day-to-day tasks. That is going to be your customer service stuff, fulfilling orders, posting on social media, all those different things. But when you are working on your business, that is when you are really looking at the big picture of like, okay, where do I want my business to be in the next 6 months to a year? What is like my 3 to 5 year vision? What is the overall mission and purpose of this business? Like, where is this going? Who is this helping? There's kind of like two different hats you have to wear. And as a solopreneur, it can feel like a lot because you are the role of everything. Like, in one day I could be the face of the brand. Then I could turn around and now I'm the customer service person answering emails. Then I'm the IT person because I'm trying to figure out something that's not working on one of my apps. Then I'm the graphic designer because I got to make some things. Then I'm the video editor because I got a video that needs to go up. Then I'm also fulfilling orders because a couple orders came through. It's a constant thing. And then on top of that, I'm supposed to be the CEO of my business to be able to understand like how all of these parts are moving together and what is like my big vision of where I'm trying to get to and move my business to. So when you think about like your job that you have, it's like everybody has their role and they stick to it, But when you are doing this business, you are taking on multiple people's roles. And I don't think people talk about that enough. You are taking on a lot as a solopreneur. And so I want you to sit in that and understand that that comes with time. It comes with patience. But most importantly, it is going to come with a level of discipline that will require you to show up in new ways. Having that time set aside is going to be important. And so one of the ways that I always love to share is to theme your days. This is a wonderful way to kind of get started. So even if it's like every day of the week, even if you only have a half hour to dedicate or an hour to dedicate to your business, if you can theme that day with what you want to work on, so when you go to sit down and work on it, you're not sitting there like, okay, I have 20,000 different business roles that I have to fulfill right now. Should I design this for my thing? Should I work on the back end of my website? Should I respond to emails? You can have it set up to where you're like, okay, Mondays is my day where I do all back end and admin tasks. Tuesday, I fulfill orders, and Thursday, I fulfill orders. Depending on the volume of your orders, that can vary, right? And then maybe Wednesday, that is the day that I decide I'm going to batch record some videos or something like that. Saturday morning, I'm going to edit my videos to get them ready for the next week. Fridays, that's going to be the day where I get my finances in order and I track all of the expenses and things that I had. Do you see how if you break it up into days, it makes it a little bit more digestible versus you sitting down and you're like, okay, I know I got to do all of these things, but I don't even know where to start. So it's very important to set this aside. And I'm actually going to have a training that I did. It was in the membership, but I have now brought it to my course suite. It's called Bold Plans. And it is a wonderful training to really get you to kind of understand like how you can set your time up in a way that will allow for you to still be very much intentional about your personal life and all of the things you want to do, but incorporating your business into the mix and how to get consistent with that. So I will have that link down below if you are interested in a little bit more help. But the biggest thing is to really do that. So theme days is one. Blocking your time is another. So if you have the ability with your schedule, you can block out your days, by the hour or however much, in chunks of what you want to do. And then when your work block comes up, you know that during this work block, these are the things that I'm going to work on. It's important for you to think about these things even before you have had a sale, even before you have a product ready to go, because you don't want your business to catch you by surprise. You really want to have some things already in place and have really thought about these aspects, because it's inevitable. You know, you're going to need time to do stuff. And once orders start rolling in on top of all the other stuff that I mentioned, it just adds on another layer of what could feel overwhelming. Of course, it's a blessing to get orders. It is a blessing to have a following and to grow. But with all of those things comes a whole nother host of problems and things you have to figure out. You know, you might get customer service emails. Like even just this last run with my planners, there were a few issues with some of the shipping. And once it leaves me, I'm not really responsible for what happens after that. Only because like I'm not taking it. Like if I'm personally delivering it, right, to you, then that's different. You know, it's my responsibility. Like I got it in my car with me or something like that. But once I drop it off at the post office or UPS or they pick it up for me, it's kind of out of my hands in the sense of like, I don't know what's going to happen. Like all I can do is just like really hope that it gets to you. And most of the time that happens. I would say about 98% of the time, 96, 97% of the time, that is the case. But every now and then there is someone that never gets their package. Or there is someone, even just recently, there was someone forgot to put the correct address information on there. And so it got sent back to me. And so, you know, it adds kind of like an extra to do onto the list, or it adds an extra thing for you to figure out of like, okay, how do I handle this? And so with a regular job, you know, you could go and you could ask your boss like, hey, how should I handle this process? You're going to have a mental load to have to figure these things out. And it's a constant thing. It doesn't always have to be customer related. There's been things with like my back end and stuff stopped working properly, or I was trying to figure something out with Stripe and it wasn't working. So there's always going to be different things to figure out. And so that is why those theme days and blocking your time and really just understanding that you are going to be doing multiple roles as a solopreneur, it's going to help you to run your business smoothly. And so I hope that this video didn't scare you off from wanting to start. But if you know anything about my channel, you know that I like to keep it real on here. I don't like to sugarcoat things because I want you to know what you are signing up for and what to expect. And stationary businesses, it can be very easy to get caught up in the glitz and the beauty and the pretty things, because that is a really amazing part of it, right? All of the beautiful pictures and all of that fun stuff. But there is this whole level of your business. It's like, that is just like if we, you know how they give that example of like if you see the water and then there's the icebergs on top. It's like that stuff, the pretty stuff that you see, that is the icebergs on top. Underneath the water, there is like a bigger iceberg that we are not seeing, the bigger part of the iceberg that we are not seeing. That is all of the other stuff that we have covered within this video. The launching, the finance stuff, the legal things, all of the back-end administrative tasks, finding time to run this, finding the energy to run this, having the ability to just be disciplined, to keep showing up. All of those things are under the water. And a lot of times people just get so stuck on the beautiful things that they see above, and they have no idea what all is underneath the surface. And so that is really what this video is about. It's about those details that matter, but we tend to kind of gloss over them and we forget about them, but they are so important, if not even more important, in order to run the business smoothly. So we will be back with part 3 of this series, but I hope that you enjoyed it. If you made it to this part, I want you to comment down below. It's all in the details, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.